Hey everyone, welcome to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episode. You can find our recaps at any time, available on most major podcast platforms, so subscribe for free in the app of your choice. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking the time out of your evening to be here. I'm Tamara Ford, and I love a good TV show and a good book, of course. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, Tamara. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author, and I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you'd like to find me online, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author.
Yes. Okay, so before we get started, we just want to remind you that we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube or Facebook right now, hit us up in the comment section. If you're catching this on a replay, you can still comment on any platform. So please do. We would love to hear from you and possibly include your comments. So if you are new here, we are laid back in our review style, aren't we, Lisa?
Absolutely. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Right. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around, and it's a huge spoiler alert for everything through yesterday's episode.
We don't go ahead, even though we can.
Yeah.
Self-control, baby. Self-control.
Yes. Some weeks it's more tempting than others. I'll
This
say
week,
that.
oh, God, it was hard not to go ahead.
Absolutely.
Oh. Okay.
So if you're good with that, this is the place for you, and we're just going to get started. So today's episode, yes, we're talking about that lovely bit of entertainment that came on air last night. It was this is the first thing I thought about that episode when it was over. I'm like, that's it? It's done? We're finished?
It went by so fast.
Yes.
It did. I mean, honestly, I was shocked because I honestly thought only like a half hour or something had passed.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was the end, I'm looking at it going, huh, that really was a full episode. Okay.
Same. Absolutely same. I was like very confused by it. I'm like, wait, that's it? That never happens to me. That never happens.
I was so immersed. It was probably, in my opinion, probably the best episode they've had this season.
Yeah, it was really good.
It didn't drag at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I don't know. I mean, it was just riveting. The whole thing. I mean, it was interesting to watch, and you're like, and you really realize, what's his name? Lance. Oh, you really get a good sense of how much of a slime ball he is in this one. I mean, we've seen how much of a slime ball he could be, but really this time. And I'm actually at this point beginning to wonder if there's even any weapons. I'm wondering if this was just a setup for the word go. Okay.
Oh my gosh. That wouldn't surprise me. And like what you said about Lance is true. Just when you think like, okay, because like last week we were talking about he's weird, he's clearly bad, but he's not that bad. Well, I guess he is.
Oh yeah. We have now discovered he is at least governor bad at this point.
Yeah, he's that bad. I mean, he pulled like this guy that was living his best life in his Zen life. He's not doing bad things anymore. He pulls him back into it, and the guy is crazy. The dude is crazy.
Well, you can see why he's like, yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. We see why, because when he committed.
Yeah.
But kind of like because Lance first, he threatened him, and the guy's like, I can kill you right now.
Oh yeah.
And then then he's like, well, I just, most of these kids were young in their 20s, and I'm going to have to tell their families, and then he turns around, and do you see that smirk on his face?
Yes.
Oh, that was a setup. That was a setup
Yes.
for the word go.
Yeah.
I don't think honestly, at this point, I don't actually think that there were weapons.
That wouldn't surprise me, because he just wanted that group to either be a part of them or crush them.
Well, I'm wondering if he um I'm wondering if he had tried to make contact with them prior to, and they were, he sent one of his, drug people, one of his drug
Mm,
mules there,
mm,
and or they came across one of their drug mules, one or the other.
mhm.
Um, but and then when they were rebuffed, he's like, "Oh no, 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 this cannot be."
Yeah.
So, and then we had the appearance of Negan. Okay, so now we found out where Negan's been this whole time with this group.
You know what? Just like Angela Chang Yang, I think said, I think I have her last name wrong. Karina will correct me. I know. um, she pointed out like the irony of Negan being like, "Oh, I'm out of here. I'm going off on my own," and like 2 seconds later, he's back with the group.
Well, but it's been almost 6 months. So, I mean, we don't know how long he wandered around. We don't even know how long he's been with the group.
Well, he's definitely not new. Like the
No.
conversation he was having, he settled in there.
Oh, yeah. Now, I did find it interesting that, number one, he made the comment when those people were dying up there, those were the best of us.
Hmm.
And the fact that Negan was accepting a pretty much crazy man as being their leader,
I know.
you know.
I know. He was, a bit off, but I wonder if that was like for show. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, Negan can obviously be contrite or small if he needs to, if he wants to infiltrate someplace. Um, but I got the definite impression that he was just, he wasn't there to try and take control or anything. He didn't he didn't really give off that vibe. You know what I mean?
no, he just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah.
He didn't want people coming trying to steal from them or take over them or anything. He just wanted his group to be left alone.
Mhm. And again, I mean, if for some reason they would have stolen those guns, all right, that Negan would have made sure that every single person had them.
Right. They would have been using them.
They would have been using them.
So if the guns are real, they don't have it.
Right.
Someone else has got, and we don't know who it is yet.
Hmm. I'm almost Honestly, I'm almost thinking if there was a shipment stolen, it wasn't guns, it was drugs. It was the drugs.
Um, yeah, I could see that too. That's something that someone would want. Maybe it's
Well, and
someone that wants to barter or something that Lance has done and they want revenge or they want to hold
hmm,
something over his head or
yeah. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure I mean, every level of this event was a setup for every single person involved.
mhm.
You know, yeah, and we probably should circle back to the very beginning with Maggie and her group. You
Yeah,
know,
so what's her face is leaving. She's like, "Peace out. I'm going to the Commonwealth."
which honestly, I was I was expecting. I was kind of expecting her to leave like Hilltop because she kind of had that look in her eye. But
Yeah.
I truthfully thought if she was going to go anywhere, she was going to go to Alexandria.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Which is, even it's Commonwealth adjacent,
Mhm.
but
But you
I
know what? I understand after Lydia's little talk in the car with Maggie,
mhm.
I understand why she would want to go there because there's nothing wrong for a teenager to want a consistent life. You wake up
Yeah.
and you know what's going to happen that day.
Oh, I can see, I mean, not even just a teenager. I can see for anyone in this world
Yeah.
some consistency, that you get up, you have breakfast, you take a shower, you know, um you go to a job, and there's a movie theater, those kinds of things. I can see the appeal. And they were like, before the kingdom fell, they were actually really starting to create that. They had a movie theater, they had a movie night.
Two
um
movie theater. Oh no, the Commonwealth has two.
yeah, I
So
know.
yeah.
But I mean, Alexander, I mean, all of these communities, that's really what they have been building towards, is
Right.
that getting up and having the same day every day, and not worrying about if you're going to starve. They've all been working in that direction. And like I said, if I really think that the downfall for all of these communities was really, it started with the kingdom, and everything just kind of fell down from there, because the kingdom in some ways was their, I don't want to call it their spiritual center, but their cultural center. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, I
They
do.
had the movie theater. They're the ones that had the festival. Um, they, even before they integrated with the other groups, that they had more or less held off the the saviors, by making a deal, and they were growing crops within their walls and everything else. So, I mean, when it fell, it really kind of, that was like the first domino for all of these other communities to really just start going downhill.
Yeah.
And
But, even Maggie wants that. Ultimately, she wants that too. She's just not willing to pay the price for it.
yeah, well, and and she also, you could we kind of got that both sides, because um so we got the, I want that normalcy, I want that consistency, and Maggie comes in and she's like, yeah, but there's always a price for these things, and it depends on how much of yourself you're willing to lose to get them.
Right. And I think when they're on the road, they just had this conversation. They
Mm-hmm.
find some Commonwealth walkers, soldier
Mm-hmm.
walkers. And then here comes Aaron yelling up the road,
Yeah.
like, oh, what's happening? I
Mm-hmm.
bet at that point, Maggie felt very vindicated.
Yeah. Well, and because we get this young kid, we have no idea how he got there.
Yeah.
He had a map. Turns out it was Negan. Um, and it was, so when we're go back into the flashback, and it's Aaron, and they're in the at the sermon with the um Father Gabriel. And I gotta tell you, did Gabriel look old to you when he was up there on the pulpit?
I didn't notice, but I feel like later he looked normal to me in the
Well,
other.
once they got down from the pulpit, I didn't notice it so much. But
Mhm.
when he was up there, I'm like, man, it looks like you've aged like 10 years. Um,
Hmm.
it might have just been the lighting or something. But, but you could tell, Aaron's like, yeah, we can do this. And Gabriel's like, yeah, this seems a little weird. Why do they want me? You know,
Yeah. Right.
nothing about this sounds quite right.
Well, they want him because him and Aaron used to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
and the
yeah,
theory was, is with Gabriel being a priest, he could insert himself, religious person to religious person.
right. So
Apparently, they have forgotten the thousands of years and thousands of wars over my God's better. And
yeah, I mean, they were trying to be very tactical about it indeed, but it backfired because
hmm
even Gabriel, when he didn't even want to go in representing himself as a priest, so he
no,
didn't.
right. Well, and the two of them, they were standing there going, I don't know, this doesn't look right.
Oh my god, that whole
None of this feels
conversation
right.
was hilarious. Like Gabriel, I love how he kind of just told that guy, I can't even think of what that guy's name is.
Come on,
He said,
Katrina,
"Look,
help us out.
your plan is crazy, and I'm
Yeah.
not trying to die. That's why I don't think we should do this." He
hmm
was very blunt, like matter of
It's like, leave
fact.
them be. Just leave them
Yeah,
be.
right. Even
And
Aaron's like, "Yeah, this doesn't seem right at all. Like this is not how you represented this to us at all. This is a
hmm
different situation here."
well, and then that young kid, I never did actually catch his name from the show. Did they ever even introduce him? Anyway, but you saw him and you're like, oh, it's the kid that got shot on the horse. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, know where he comes in now. But yeah, when everything went down, I mean, even him, they didn't even tell him what was going on. He really thought that this was a legitimate peacekeeping outreach thing.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of sad, because I part of me goes, I don't understand why they even sent this young kid with them.
So
He
Toby
obviously
the Wolf is his name. The older guy, the guy
yeah.
who is the
Okay.
psycho killer. If he knew that this was going to be, he knew what they were doing. Why didn't he just say, "Kids, stay home this time"? Why
Yeah.
submit him to that? Like, why submit Jesse to that? That's his name. Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Thank you.
ladies.
But yeah, I mean, because I mean, this kid, like I said, had absolutely no idea. He was freaking out when he ran into Negan, and he's like, "I had no idea. I didn't know that this was going to happen. I really thought that this was, this was a, negotiation." So yeah, I mean, why would they bring him? I mean,
Maybe to make it look like normal to Aaron and Gabriel. Without
maybe,
him, they'd be like, "Why didn't you bring the trainee? Where's the
yeah,
trainee?" So maybe that.
maybe. I mean, it's just, the poor kid was, killed. Poor guy.
I know, but
Um,
he also served a purpose too. When he ran into Negan, he was
mm-hmm,
able to say, "Oh, those other two guys." And of course, Negan was able to call them out. He knew who they were based on the
mm-hmm,
description, and he was able to say they didn't know either.
yeah. So,
So
and
Negan
then,
wouldn't get in a way. Like,
hmm well, and then the whole sneaking around thing, because at
yeah.
this point you can see that Toby is incredibly frustrated.
Dude, that scene, wait, before that whole fiasco kicked off, that scene where they're negotiating and then Aaron's like, he says the most obvious thing. Oh no, it was Gabriel, I think. He's like, "You're going to call us like we're coming here as cannibals, but we brought MRE food?" Like
Yeah.
you're going to use that? Like really? And the guy, he de-escalated. He's like,
Hmm.
"Okay, just leave and never come back here."
Yeah.
And then that all of a sudden, what's his face pops up with a
Toby.
gun. Yes, Toby just like, I'm like, whoa, WTF. I'm like, that
Oh, I
shocked me.
know.
I'm like, oh my
Well,
God.
and the suddenness of it. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
absolutely, you know, there wasn't any buildup to it. You know what I mean?
No, like that thing escalated from like 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, and up to that point, everything seemed more or less normal up until he grabbed the. I mean, okay, it didn't seem normal, but it wasn't completely out of whack until he grabbed the gun and it was game on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was just
And the look
fast.
on Gabriel and Aaron's face. They're like, "Why did you do that?" They were very outraged. And
Yeah.
then the look on his face, the look, especially Aaron's face, when he started like just taking people out, he's like,
Hmm.
"Oh my God." I think he did not imagine that coming out of that guy's body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He
Well,
thought
I
it was
mean,
weird and kind of quirky or whatever. He had no clue what he had up his sleeve or what he was capable of.
right. Well, and because up to that point he'd been kind of this goofy, jovial guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna do it. He's probably been meditating,
Yeah.
um, whatever. But he didn't seem like he was a threat.
No, and I guess
He seemed more like he
and
was
to
an idiot.
Toby's credit, no one goes around saying, "Hey, I used to be an assassin," or "I used to be
Yeah.
this or that."
But
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 just
the persona that he was giving off was kind of this jovial, almost not idiotic, but just
he means well.
flighty kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a threat, not a, just whoa, unworldly would be a
Uh
good word.
Karina said it. He's the wolf in sheep's clothing. He was.
Yeah.
And he probably was going to stay the sheep as long as no one activated him.
Yeah.
Like you pulled the trigger and now this guy is crazy again.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't get past like the bulging eyes, like the expression on Aaron's face. It was
Mm-hmm.
comical to me. I'm like, damn, I would be shook like that too, honestly.
Well, and I mean, because up to this point, Aaron really, I mean, he hasn't trusted the Commonwealth, okay, but he hasn't really seen anything that really justifies his unease.
Hmm.
And now all of a sudden, it's not even a justification. I mean, this is this full blown neon warning sign, and you can see every thought that every possible bad thing now that can happen to Alexandria. They're surrounded by their military.
Mhm.
What's to stop this guy from coming in and shooting him, or whatever? What's to stop them? And at this point, you can almost kind of see him. What's you know Thinking back to Maggie, going, okay, okay, yeah, yeah, I get it now, really get it. you know because
Right.
they don't have, I mean, at this point, Alexandria doesn't have an out. If this, if the Commonwealth says, pulls the trigger, literally or figuratively, there's literally nothing they can do.
Mhm.
They are, um they're trapped.
Right. They
And
are.
I think that was pretty much that I think that was part of that whole face that you saw, was that realization that they're fucked. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure Aaron feels like before. Okay, so like you said, Aaron did not trust them, right?
Mhm.
We know this, but he had not seen anything bad yet, only good. So I
Right.
think he was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, as soon as his adrenaline falls from this fiasco, he's going to be like, "Damn, I should have never agreed." He's going to feel like a dummy. He is. He's going to feel real dumb. He's
Mhm.
going to be like, "I should have listened to you, Maggie." He's going to do that probably.
Well, and I think in some ways he was looking at the Commonwealth as a larger version of what Alexandria had been, particularly at their height, when they were going out and looking for groups, when they brought in Rick's group.
Yeah, and they
And
were doing that until they weren't. Just like
exactly.
Toby said, this is the other side of the coin. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they were
And
doing it.
so, right. And that's right. Like I said, I think up to that point, he was really giving them the benefit of the doubt, because he was thinking, well, when we were strong, we were bringing in the weak. Now the Commonwealth is strong and they're helping the weak. So, like I said, you could see that he wanted to believe in this, because
Mhm.
that's what that's what Alexandria had been striving to do,
Mhm.
since the apocalypse happened, and until they fell on hard times.
Right.
And so when this other group came along and they were more powerful than them, but again, Alexandria had once been the power, and they were using it benignly. So I think he was hopeful, you know, and it did, the Commonwealth doesn't look evil. They have ice cream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And while their 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 leader, she's a hard ass bitch, but she doesn't give off governor vibes. She doesn't give off Negan vibes. She's not a nice person.
Well, see, that's the
But
thing.
she's
I think that honestly, unless they do a plot twist on us later, it
hmm
feels like Lance is the one pulling the strings. It
yeah,
feels like Pamela doesn't really know what Lance is up to or what he's
yeah.
doing on the side.
I think what it is she's more than willing to overlook any of his discretions. As long as he doesn't make it public, there are no waves, and she can have deniability.
I think it's more than that. I think that she knows that he'll do anything to get what he wants, but she doesn't know what that is. Like,
Yeah.
she probably doesn't know about his secret CIA team.
hmm
She probably doesn't know that he sent, because he told Toby, like, I can't divert any more military.
Right.
She's
Without
given
her
me
nose.
some, but I can't do X, Y, and Z.
hmm
So he's like doing things without her knowing about it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think there is some awareness on her part, but it's not enough for her to, because I mean, she did, she told him last episode, I'm aware of what your ambitions are, but, you know, keep it in check.
But she
So,
doesn't know what he's doing. She
yeah.
knows he's doing shit, but what shit
hmm
is the question.
Exactly. Like I said, as long as, as long as it's not coming back to bite her in the ass and it's not making a huge ripple throughout the community, I don't think she cares.
Well, that's her big I think that's a big mistake on her
It is.
point of view because you let somebody who you know will do anything to win or to gain favor or to, be the leader, and you're not going to investigate or keep an eye out for them, you're not going to watch your back cuz he could come and stab you in it.
Yeah. I think she's smugly feeling smugly secure in her position at this point. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And I'm
she's
not.
feeling too secure with her pedicure and
Yeah.
wine. I'm like,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think. Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't think her feeling of security is justified. I think it's very arrogant on her part. But arrogance does seem to be her. You know how she rolls.
Yeah, I agree with Karina. She is clueless. I
Yeah.
feel like she's, it's like someone is bad. You know they're up to something, but you're not even going to bother to investigate and try to figure out what that is.
Though because he's helping her keep the trades rolling, and that's all she cares
And
about.
that's why she going to be taken down. I don't know how. I don't know. I feel like by the end of this, I think that community will still be intact. I feel like the Commonwealth community will be intact, but I don't think
Hmm.
Pamela will be the head of it.
No, I had this thought in the back of my head. I'm like, huh, I can see Maggie becoming the leader of the Commonwealth, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, no, probably not because they're having the spinoff.
Right.
So and it's gonna be Maggie and Negan.
Right.
So
Which I don't know if I love it, but we'll save that for conversation for a
for
little later.
yeah,
So,
so
mm,
but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's gonna get replaced. The question is by whom.
right.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see it be Ezekiel.
Mm, maybe. You never know.
I mean, once he has the surgery and stuff, I mean, he was an amazing leader. He really was.
I
And
know,
this
but
community is
I don't know if he has the skill set though to manage 50,000 people. Like no shade, he was a great leader for his small close knit group,
yeah.
but this is something different.
Cleo
Maybe they'll
saying
have a
Rick.
council of people. Maybe
Yeah,
they'll do something like that.
yeah. Cleo says Rick. Well, first we gotta find him. You know.
Man, Rick is not in the not same for Rick. I love Rick, but I would not feel comfortable with him running 50,000 people.
Mm,
Like he's had his big mistakes. He has, and we
yeah,
were all watching like what is he doing?
yeah.
But with a small group, great. He's fine. He's golden, right? He can
Hmm.
manage that. But that huge community, I don't know. But um
It's
yeah, somebody's
Eugene.
going to take
No,
over. Hmm?
I said it'll be Eugene.
Lord, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens or maybe um the CRM comes in and takes
Yeah.
over it. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe that could happen. They could just be absorbed into that. Who knows? But
Right.
I am curious to see what's going to go on with Lance because it seems like every week he's just getting his hand in there in the pot and stirring it even more and more every week.
I was gonna say getting it dirtier and dirtier, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
So and I got and it was like the whole build up there inside that building with Toby and everything and him getting frustrated because every time he turns his back, people, Aaron disappeared and then, Gabriel disappeared and, like magic, you know, he got out of his handcuffs and killed some people. How did he do
oh, I
this?
know. And
He
his
was,
soldier being dead, he's like, I can't leave you for 1 minute.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you can see that he is clearly flustered.
yeah,
And then rounding up the few people he could find and tossing them off the roof.
dude, that scene. Okay, that scene when he first, he pushed the first person and we kind of saw
Hmm.
them fall. I was like, damn, when they hit the ground, and
Yeah.
then we heard the others, and it still made me flinch every time someone hit the ground. It
I
was
like to
pretty
point
bad.
out they panned over to Negan while they were
Yeah.
falling, and even he was
Yes.
flinching.
Yeah.
You could see it. I mean, you could see he was very disturbed by this. And a part of me, I kind of wonder, he's like going, man, that used to be me.
Yeah. Absolutely. That used to be me, except for I had a bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a little bit of soul searching because he really
Hope
did look
so.
uncomfortable. He
Yeah.
looked, because the old Negan, this wouldn't have phased him at all. He would have swung that bat and had that cocky grin. And in, but instead, he really, I mean, he looked. Uh, I'm not going to say shocked. He wasn't shocked, but you could see he was disturbed.
Yeah, he was worried for those people he was with now because
Mm-hmm.
the woman that gave that like go get him speech, we're going to win. He was like, I don't know about that speech, They killed our best people.
Yeah. Well, he was like, that's good. Good job there.
Good.
Try it, but
Yeah, but
and and then they're like, okay, where are the guns? And Negan's like, if the woman says we don't have them. No, you're not understanding. We need the guns,
but they're
we,
nowhere. That's
but they're
yeah.
because again, at that point, even if Negan had them and had them hidden in that building, let's say Negan went independent and did this, okay, which would not be above him. Don't get me wrong. At that point in time, he would have said, "Oh, they're in. We're gonna go get the guns."
Yeah.
Um, and if anyone was going to be in on something like that, it would have been him.
Yeah, I think he would have caved after those people got tossed off the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Or after the first or second one.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have them. So okay, so at the end of this, we did see that Aaron, Maggie, Lydia, and that other guy, I forgot his name, they
Mm-hmm.
arrived on the scene and got into the house. So clearly they're going to be in that house more trying to take people out.
Mm-hmm.
um,
And they're also clueless on how this kid got the map.
yeah, they'll figure it out when they talk to Negan.
Oh yeah, they will.
Yeah.
But they're like, this doesn't make none of this makes any sense. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so they're all sneaking around and doing some damage. So we're all going to assume that Maggie, Negan, Gabriel, um, Lydia, those
Elijah,
guys.
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. That's
all of
the
those
guy.
are. Yeah, all of those will probably survive. More than likely. Um, I'm curious to see if Toby makes it or not. I'm wondering if they're going to bring him back trustled up like like a hog, or if they're going to kill him there.
I don't know. But one thing I am curious about that you haven't brought up, because I know you are a stickler for the details of location, distance, and all of these things. So I was reading this article that said, per the map that they showed, someone lined it up with a real map, and it says that this episode took place in West Virginia.
That sounds about right. That's
And
about where I had him placed.
so also because of the map and where they showed where Maggie is, that showed that Hilltop was also in West Virginia. And
Fair.
they said it's marked off as being located north of Salem, in West Virginia on US Route 50. But the problem with that is that it's so far away from where Alexandria is. But in the comics, Hilltop is supposed to be 20 miles away. But
Mm-hmm.
based on the maps that they show, Hilltop is over 260 miles away from where Alexandria, Virginia would be.
That would not work.
It would not work. And I'm like, oh my God, when I saw this, I'm like, I have to tell Lisa what I found. So whoever did the maps messed up a little bit. I think they had them too far
Mm-hmm.
into West Virginia, I guess.
Apparently, they're unfamiliar with. You know, I've
How
been in West
maps work.
Virginia. I'm going to be real truthful. I assumed that they were somewhere around Myrtle Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this was all pretty coastal. They were all more or less within probably 20 miles or so, 50 miles of the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I had them as kind of in a triangle with Alexandria being between Oceanside and Hilltop. So Hilltop and Oceanside are the farthest apart, at least in my
Same.
head. In
Right.
my head.
Yeah.
And then I kind of placed the kingdom somewhere in between Hilltop and uh, Alexandria, but a little above.
I put them
So
all within a day's horse ride to the
exactly.
other.
So because we know
Yeah,
that we're when they're on horse, they could make the trip to all three of these areas within a day. If
right.
they were on foot, they were doing it overnight. They were
And
staying
then
overnight somewhere.
also in the episode, I guess Lance said, or he referred to Alexandria, the Hilltop, and Oceanside as like Hicks towns. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like as a collective.
Yeah, and one stayed over.
Right, in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So that it just seems like a little technical glitch that someone who did the maps made and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
catch it.
Or they may not have thought, although it was stupid of them to assume, oh, they're not really going to pay that much attention to the map. And I'm going to be real truthful. I just decided not to even bother.
I didn't pay
And,
attention until I saw this article. I'm like, wait a minute, someone did the work for me. Let me see.
yeah,
Let
you
me
know,
see what they're talking about
but
since they did the work.
250
Yeah,
miles on, I mean, that's a distance in a car.
right.
That's about
It's a
4-ish
couple
hours
hours.
in a car.
Yeah.
Assuming that you can travel pretty steadily at 70 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Um, horse by horse, you're going to go what 15 miles an hour if you're lucky.
Yeah,
Cause,
because they're not riding those horses that fast. They're just, going at a gallop
yeah,
or a trot, right? They're
they're going
not.
at a trot. Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you go at a gallop for too long, I mean, you'll kill your horses.
Right. They're not riding those horses hard. They chilling. So
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, they're going slow.
Exactly. They might. When it comes to walking, they're probably walking. They're walking faster than a stroll, but even still, you're not what maybe 20 miles a day
Mm-hmm.
walking. If I mean, obviously they're all in decent shape. Um, as long as they're well fed. But so you can go at a pretty good clip if you're in good shape and you're used to walking.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you're not. 250 miles. That is a long ass journey.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, it was so um off to me. I'm like, I have to bring it up. It's too big of a discrepancy. It's
Now
too
I
big.
did. I meant to go back and re-listen to it, but when Herschel was talking to Maggie, how long are you going to be gone? She's like, how long did I say?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he said 2 to 3 weeks.
I thought he said as long as it takes.
Okay, that's okay. That makes more
And then
sense.
she's like, yes, as long as it takes. Like she kind of co-signed what he said.
Okay, because I thought he said 2 to 3 weeks, as long as it takes. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
And I meant to go back and listen. I was going to ask you about that because I'm going, man, and that means that this place is, it's a bit of a stretch. Then
That's
again,
true.
this kid on horseback hurt wasn't going to make it for that long by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, assuming that he got shot somewhere in the vicinity shortly after he escaped, and he made it to Maggie, there may be a couple hours on horseback
Mm-hmm.
at
Hmm.
most.
Because it doesn't seem like they were driving very long before, Aaron caught up with them on the
Mm-hmm.
road.
Yeah.
And like that kid did literally, he was on horse from one place to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And he died
Well,
pretty quickly. It wasn't like a half a day. It couldn't have been.
right. So, although I am going to say, God, the roads are really clear anymore, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Right.
well, when this show first started, there was cars everywhere, all over
Right.
the place, and I mean, had they just gone down every road and used records or something, or maybe
Hey,
this
I
is
mean, it's been over a decade, right? They just slowly start people move the cars, I guess. I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess
I don't know.
it's awful clear.
It
And then
is
I had
awful
to
clear.
wonder where'd they get the gas.
I know. I
You know,
thought about that. I'm like, well, Maggie just gets in the truck, like, okay, we're going. I'm like, where'd she get the gas from? I guess somewhere.
I suppose it's possible that the Commonwealth gave it to them as part of their supplies.
Oh, maybe.
You know, but we know from Fear of the Walking Dead that this whole we need new gas stuff is has become a paramount.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
I don't know. It's yeah, it's odd. Oh, I did want to make sure to talk about the iPhone that Aaron whips out.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, wow, he's got like an iPhone 7 or something. It looks like an iPhone 7. It's not a newest model, but I'm like, wow, that's a pretty new iPhone he's got there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look at the pictures of the town. Cool, right?
Look how nice it is. When people see these, they want to join.
Yeah.
You do have to wonder how many groups that um they've made contact with since joining up with with the Commonwealth,
Mhm.
because they really don't mention how many that they brought in.
No.
Now my question is once they get out of this mess, where do they go first? I would say back to Alexandria and tell the soldiers to go get packing.
Mm. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'd go and try to find more of their people at Commonwealth and tell them what's going on. Oh, Karina says they said it was an iPhone 4. Okay, so I was
Mm-hmm.
a little off. But maybe they go to the Commonwealth and try to tell more of their people what's happening, like Daryl and Rosita, because they can't go in there and just be like, "Hey, Commonwealth soldiers, leave." I don't
Yeah,
think they do that.
I don't know. I mean, they're the soldiers are there. I mean, are there at supposedly at you know Alexandria's request, but yeah, that really would raise suspicions.
I mean, especially since Aaron has been working with them, right? He
Mm-hmm.
considered Toby his boss, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that would be the smartest thing to do. Kind of like you want to know, but don't let them know you know what
Mm-hmm.
they're capable of, kind of thing, and get everyone kind of pulled back in. I
Mm-hmm.
think, or make a plan with everybody.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know.
they'll have to. I mean, so maybe what they'll do is send the people from Hilltop out off to Alexandria to warn them, while Gabriel and Aaron go back to
Yeah,
the
Gabriel,
Commonwealth.
Aaron, and they could even send Lydia, and they can,
Mm-hmm.
she was going to go there anyway. She has her plausible reasons still. They can
Mm-hmm.
divide and conquer amongst everyone that they know and kind of be like, look,
Yeah, because I mean, Alexandria needs to be informed. Hilltop needs to be informed.
right.
Seaside or Oceanside needs to be informed.
Yeah.
This is they are not what they're presenting themselves to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and then I can see him going in. But we did kind of start the one episode off with, or they ended it with like that 6 month jump, and Maggie behind the walls doesn't have to be this way. Oh yes, it does.
Right.
So now we're really beginning to see the build up to where that's taking us.
I still
But
feel like from that scene, I still feel like it's not what it
think it is.
appears to be.
It can't be, because
Right.
I can't even, because one, we know that Daryl has not drank the Kool-Aid.
Right.
Um so the fact that, yeah, there's just, if he knows what's really going on, even if he didn't know what was really going on, him going, confronting Maggie in this way is highly unlikely.
Mhm.
I don't care, I mean, Daryl may be a soldier for now, but Daryl is not a soldier at heart. He doesn't follow orders to follow orders.
Mhm.
Being a soldier is a means to an end for him. He's good at killing. He's good at this. Uh, and where they had him living, in the Commonwealth, this was again the fastest way out of living the crappiest version of this life. So, um, but yeah, I can't see him taking sides with the Commonwealth, especially if he knows what's going on.
No, I don't think he would. Maybe it's a setup, Maybe it's like they know. I don't know. I have to believe that after this whole thing, somehow they find a way to communicate with each other and they figure out what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. And maybe it's
Yeah.
on purpose, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
playing a part.
Well, we all know that they're good at, you
Mhm.
know, pointing at one thing and then, so they can sneak something else around us. So
Right.
whatever's going on in that scene, it's a misdirect. It's got to be a misdirect of some kind.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, so at the end of the episode, I take away we don't know who took the weapons from the Commonwealth,
If there
and
were
we
any weapons.
if there were, but I feel like there were just because of something that Lance kind of indicated when he said, I sent a like a convoy full of supplies for that other thing. What's the other thing?
Mhm.
We
The
don't
opium.
know. Right.
I assumed it was the opium.
Maybe, maybe, but we saw the opium and that wasn't being hidden from us. So I
Mhm.
feel like it's something else.
Could be.
Uh, yeah, and then of course the walkers that were Commonwealth soldiers. We know just from so far we know that that wasn't anything that our people did. Someone else did those. I mean, it was three of them together. So someone
Mhm.
else did that. Probably the same person who took the weapons.
Yeah. So I think there's probably another player at this point, because since Maggie and her group didn't kill those people, and
Mm-hmm.
Aaron just came on the scene and he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a gun, and we know that Negan and everyone inside was still inside.
Right.
I mean, now I guess it's possible before they went back inside they could have, but I don't see that timing working out.
No, me neither.
So,
It's not like they were running. So, the walkers weren't running.
well,
So they
no,
were.
actually, wait a minute. It's possible because when Negan came upon that kid and he was getting that horse, that would have been their encampment. So Negan and her were already there. So it's possible they'd already killed those other soldiers.
So Negan could have slit their throat and sent them on their way
Mm-hmm.
and, let them wake up and go. I mean, I thought that they like stop people from turning. I thought they would like stab them in the head or
I don't
something.
know.
So,
That's true. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying the timing could work for
yeah.
that. I don't
Huh.
know that it is, but at that point, if Negan did that prior to them going back in the building, the timing would work.
Right.
But at that point, I'm not. If they hadn't already been in the building, they may not have known exactly what was going on. I don't know. We'll see.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so many new questions, so many unanswered questions. Yeah, so I'm hoping next week is just as exciting as this week was.
Well, Karina seems to indicate that we're going to enjoy it. So
Yes.
she's usually right about these things. So I'll take her word for it.
I know. I'm like, honestly, I've had such a crappy Monday. I feel like I might just watch it after we get off this stream.
That's fair. That is
Like,
fair.
yeah, and then I'll just rewatch it again on Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm really. I was kind of thinking about watching it tonight. Like, well, if I watch it tonight, I'll definitely want to watch it again. At least, on I want to watch it again on Sunday, because
Mhm.
otherwise I probably will forget some details. I'll remember the general gist of it, but I'll forget details.
Yeah, Karina
Curious,
says next week fire.
and she's
Yeah,
also screaming at us now. Watch it
watch it
tonight.
tonight. Yes.
It's all capital letters, guys. Okay, I was
Right.
just.
Even Cleo says you'll definitely enjoy 11-14. It was really good.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
That's two of y'all co-signing.
All right. I guess we're watching it tonight.
Yeah, I feel like I will. I'm excited for it
All
because I want to
right.
see what happens.
I do too. Like I said, I really, at least until we see this next episode. Right now, I think that this is my favorite episode so far of this part of the season.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think this is one of the better episodes. Well, the best of the second since it's been back on since February.
Oh yeah,
In the what is it, 11B section?
something like that. I'm I'm
Yes.
I'm gonna be real truthful with everything going on. I'm just rolling. I'm like, we're in the last season. It's just the last season. We're in the middle part of the last season.
I know, but they have it like broken up in 3 chunks, so it's like A, B, and C.
That's why I
Um,
said it's the middle part of the
yeah.
last season.
You're like, it's the middle. Yes, it is the middle technically. Um, and we got the Fear the Walking Dead official trailer,
Mm-hmm.
which you took a look at.
Oh, I'm not happy.
And so, you guys, at the end of the trailer, we see Madison, which we were all
Ah,
expecting. We all knew. Lisa's like, ah, gross. Like, just die. She wants her to be dead.
be dead. Just
I know.
be dead, for God's sakes. I was happy with you dead. No, they had to bring her back.
I know. And it's like, I wonder what is going to be different about her because it seems like maybe she's undergone some kind of brainwashing or something. I don't
Yeah, and
know.
by whom? I guess we're gonna assume the Commonwealth, or not the Commonwealth, but the CRM. You are not Madison anymore. That's not your name.
I know. And she had the tattoos of her kids' names on her wrist that she was trying to
Mm-hmm.
hide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man. I mean, honestly, I have never, y'all, if you listen to this podcast for a while, you know that neither Lisa nor I, neither one of us have been Madison fans. Okay. We have not been. But
I'm
I'm
just,
kind of curious now. I'm kind of curious.
I'm not. I want her to be dead. I'll watch it, but I want her to be dead. If she
I
ruins the
know.
show, I'm gonna be very upset.
I want
Um,
to know if she's able to act without me finding her aggravating. Like, will she be different on camera? Will she feel different?
I don't know. I'm not hopeful. I'll tell you, the rest of the trailer looked good. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, the rest of it looked good. And then I saw that end with her, and I went, ah!
Mm-hmm.
It just ruined it for me. Ruined the whole thing for me.
Oh, thanks for the note, Karina. Fear 7B is still 7 years behind the main
Mm-hmm.
show. So that's good to know. So I guess when we're talking about this whole post-apocalyptic vibe they've got going on from the nuke, it's like, okay, that was well
Yeah,
before here.
yeah, but again, honestly, if it was, I'm still trying. I am still trying to come to grips with the fact that they set off nukes all over Texas. Okay. And while I realize that these guys are on the East Coast, I also know that the pollution is low. And, you know, it makes a big boom.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing else, it would have the survivors that were on the edge of it that scattered. At least the rumors of it would have been out there. And
Right.
not a word, not a nary of a word, not a
Right.
whisper, nothing, nothing. That just now.
Mm-hmm.
For all of Maggie's wandering, she never, yeah, there's a big nuclear thing out in Texas. Nothing. So
Right.
anyway,
I know. And I think that just because how the shows have gone, The Walking Dead will never address it. They're not going to ever.
no, they're not going to.
Yeah. If they do drop some kind of, 2 sentences about it, I would be shocked. Absolutely shocked.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I am kind of waiting for them to make another time jump on Fear the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just so they can try and catch up a little. I mean, even though The Walking Dead is coming to an end, there are a lot of these threads, you
Right.
know, and I can see them accelerating the walk or Fear the Walking Dead to the point where they're concurrent with The Walking Dead,
Mm-hmm.
because I have heard rumors that Morgan may briefly slip back into The Walking Dead before the end.
I heard that too, but I wonder how true that is because they would, if that happened, you're right, they would have to be in sync with the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or on Fear, they'd have to address it at a later point. Like, but it seems too odd for him to be in two places at once and not be in the same time. So,
Exactly. So I
yeah.
don't know how true the rumors are, but it does seem fairly solid for a rumor.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Well, you know what? I haven't seen any articles popping up in my feed talking about they've seen Lenny James on set. I haven't
Right.
seen that.
I haven't either.
So if he's
But,
there, they kept that real quiet.
but I also know that they have not completely, as far as I know, they don't have the end of this the final season of The Walking Dead done.
Oh, it's not written yet?
I don't know that it's done. I mean,
Hmm.
like recorded.
Now, actually, I feel like Karina, leave a comment. I feel like you showed me something that said that they were recording that final episode. Correct me if I'm wrong or tell me if I'm right. I think they've recorded it.
Okay.
So, I don't know. In a
Because I
couple
was
of
think because I
yeah.
was thinking the season finale for it, they hadn't finished yet. They were still taping it.
I don't know. Maybe it was no, okay, no. Cuz the season finale, so this is
They are
episode
filming the
13.
final episode now, is what Karina says.
Okay. So they are filming
Mhm.
it. Okay. So that means it is essentially, for the sake of argument, it's written,
Yeah.
it's done, they're just filming it. It needs to
Yep.
be edited after that.
Yep.
So they've gotten to the end of the story.
Mhm.
They started filming it on the 7th, she said. Okay. 7th of March, y'all, in case you don't know what we mean and you're listening to this in the future.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still possible
Yeah.
they could sneak Morgan onto the set at some point
Yeah.
since they started filming it. I mean, they have kept secrets before.
Right. So I
So,
want to know from y'all in the audience, do you think that Fear is going to have a time jump to catch up to The Walking Dead before The Walking Dead ends its run? I want to know what you guys think. Um, because I agree with Lisa. If they're gonna, if Lenny James does show up over there, they will definitely have to be in sync. But I don't know if it's actually gonna happen or not.
right. And I'm not banking on it. Like I said, I
Yeah.
heard some rumors and I'm like, well, that'd be cool. I would like to see him, you know, in some capacity, not rejoin them, so to speak, but
Mm-hmm.
make contact or, have there be something.
Karina says, I don't think so about Fear. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot. I mean, let's just keep it real. They're so far away from the East Coast right now.
Mm-hmm.
It would take quite a bit of time to explain or figure out how to get him from where they are location wise to the Virginias location
Well, the
wise.
explanation is we need to get out of the radiation zone. You know,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
I'm just saying that's, if you're looking for an explanation, living in ground zero is not healthy.
Right.
Um, and now looking at that trailer they had, it's obviously the setup between Morgan's group and um what's his name? Uh starts with an S. Come on, help me out.
Mm,
You know,
who you talking?
on Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh,
It's a between Morgan and
oh, oh my gosh.
Stein.
Strand. There we
Strand.
go.
There we go. It's
Yeah.
going to be the confrontation between the two groups,
Right.
but at this point, um, it's not Morgan leading the charge,
Right.
and it's gotten personal.
That it has.
um, but uh, what's her name has basically said, "I'm going to build the paradise. I'm going to do this." So I
Mhm.
guess we're just going to find out how this goes down.
Yeah. I do see that. I do agree with some of the comments Karina made too. She said, I could see some of the characters jumping from the other spin offs from The Walking Dead. So,
Mm-hmm.
more of the Walking Dead characters showing up in the spin offs in some capacity.
Yeah,
And
I
I
can
could
see that
see
too.
Fear people also joining those spin offs when Fear ends. Yeah, I could
Mm-hmm.
see that as well.
Yeah, because right now we know that. Um, Maggie and Negan are going to take off for New York City. God only knows why.
Right.
So the two of them are teaming up for whatever reason. And then we know that Carol and Daryl are going to have a spinoff. Um, Apparently, you know, they've been addressing the fact that yes, there really is going to be a Rick film.
Yeah, they're saying that
Hmm.
it's definitely
And
not going to be the three-parter or whatever they said it was going to be. I think it's going to end up being one film.
yeah, um, and then there's also going to be um, what was it, the 6 episode vignettes
Yeah,
of
like the
different groups
tales from the
from the dead.
yeah, so, yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Hmm. So
Hmm.
we've got a whole bunch of little things going on here or there. So in those little vignettes, even I could see that there might be a meetup between Morgan and you know somebody,
Hmm.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities yet that some of these characters could come back together.
Yeah. Well, we shall see, y'all. We shall see. So we are going to hop off here. I think we're done
Hmm.
today. What do you think, Lisa?
I think so.
We are going to hop off here and go watch the next episode.
Ta-ta!
Yes, we are excited. So, thanks again for joining us. If you are live here, we appreciate you spending time out of your evening. If you are listening to the replay, we appreciate you listening to the end of the episode. That really helps us out a lot with that algorithm. Please leave a like and subscribe on your, podcatcher or on YouTube. We appreciate that as well. And we will catch you guys next Monday. Until then, take care, guys.
Bye bye.